As anti-Semitism rises to deafening levels after October 7th, it's unthinkable. After October 7th, we were attacked, yet anti-Semitism is at all-time unthinkable highs. The question's why. I'm pleased to present you with the view of Professor Thomas Sowell, stated 20, 25 years ago as to why it is that the Jews are hated. So succinct, so clear, and so to the point. Take a look.
I have a chapter, that's the first chapter is black rednecks and white liberals. The second chapter is, are Jews generic? Why the jump from black rednecks and white liberals to are Jews generic? What's the point?
Well, this book is really about ethnic and cultural issues in general. So there's a chapter on the Jews, there's a chapter on the Germans, and then there's a chapter on history in general. So they're lumped together because they're all cultural ethnic issues. Fascinating story, because among the middleman minorities, of which the Jews are the most prominent, the hostility to these people in countries around the world is out of all proportion to any other kind of group I can think of. In terms of violence, the number of Chinese killed, let's say, in 1 year, and by mob action, exceeds all the blacks lynched in the entire history of the United States. And the number of Armenians killed in Turkey, during the First World War, is greater than that. And of course, the number of Jews slaughtered on a number of occasions in history, even before the Holocaust, is greater than that. So that the question is, why this particular kind of people are the targets of so much venomous hatred? And I think the answer is that they not only succeed, they succeed in a way which is a threat to the egos of other people. But the guy who comes here, let's say from Vietnam or Korea, and arrives here with little more than the clothes on his back and a few words of broken English, and a decade later he has his own little business, and you see his son a few years after that getting ready to go off to Harvard or MIT. You got to ask yourself, you either got to, you've got to hate yourself for saying, my God, I've been stagnating, this guy was nothing and now he's risen up, or you're going to have to hate him. Years ago, one official of one of the Jewish organizations in New York asked me, what can Jews themselves do in order to minimize the hostility they face? And I gave him a one-word answer: fail.
Remarkable, just absolutely remarkable to hear. It's a Torah that tells us in the Bible, 3,250 years ago, God says, and I will bless those who bless you and I will curse those who curse you. The Jewish people have been given a gift by God that they will succeed. And tragically, this is being used as a weapon against us. According to Professor Sowell, this is the reason for anti-Semitism, because the Jews are successful beyond their proportion, far beyond their size, and it's for that reason that the Jews are being hated. In other words, it boils down to nothing less or more than pure jealousy. The Jews were chosen by God. There's nothing you can do about that. It's not going to help you to hate them. In fact, it's going to hurt you to hate them, because those who bless you will be blessed, and those who curse you will be cursed. The Torah goes even further to say in the Talmud that the reason for anti-Semitism is because of Mount Sinai. When God gave the Torah to the Jewish people on Mount Sinai 3,338 years ago, on the festival of Shavuot, 7 weeks after they came out of the Egyptian Exodus. The name Mount Sinai in Hebrew also means Mount Hatred, because when the Jews were chosen as God's chosen people on Mount Sinai, it's then that hatred descended to the world. Just like if you have 5 or 6 kids and you choose one to be your favorite or your chosen, it's going to cause the others to have sibling rivalry. This is what's going on with the Jewish people to this very day. We're hated because we're chosen. Now, what that means is that it's not going to help us to be unchosen. It's not going to help us. Anti-Semitism is not going to go away just because we act as if we're not Jewish, or we act as if we're unchosen, or because we're marching with the pro-Hamas rallies, or we're marching with the communist agendas. That's not what's going to make us any more beloved by those who hate us. We're hated because of who we are. And whether or not we have the wisdom to embrace who we are, or the stupidity to walk away from who we are, it's the haters that will remind us who we are, even when we don't realize it, even when we don't have the wisdom to embrace it. And it's for that reason that Professor Sowell's wisdom here that inspires us to realize that in the face of anti-Semitism, we need to double down, embrace our identity, embrace our strength as Jewish people, embrace our gifts from God. And when the nations of the world see that it's not really our own doing, when the haters realize that it's actually a gift from God, that hopefully they too will be inspired to realize that they too have a place with God Almighty. Being chosen doesn't mean that everybody else is unchosen. It just means that we have specific responsibilities. Being the chosen people is not a privilege. It's a responsibility. This is a message I say over and over to my community members, that this is not for us to strut like a peacock and show off and brag how chosen we are. It's not a privilege. It's a responsibility. And hopefully the haters too will soon realize that just like the Jews have a responsibility to God Almighty, so do they. And just like God blesses us with extraordinary and disproportionate success, then so too, if they want to be blessed, then they will bless the Jews. And it's when we act like Jews, it's then we inspire them and the rest of the world too to find their place in humanity, to find their place in God's beautiful world. Thus, we serve as a true light unto the nations, inspiring all of humanity to find their rightful place, their dignified place in God's beautiful, purposeful world.